You've been running for about 12 years. I know there's no way you haven't had cash flow issues. What kind of issues have you dealt with, and how did you manage them?
Okay, so I am going to sort of touch wood here. We've never had not that we've not had cash flow issues, but we've never been in a position where we're going, shit, how do we pay the team this month? In our growth sort of journey, I have always probably obsessively managed sort of money in the bank and sort of runaway funds. So I've always been in a position that, my ultimate responsibility is to make sure we can pay the team at the end of the month. That is, as an agency owner, sort of the number one thing I have to make sure we can do. And in order to do that, it's almost accepting that cash flow can be unpredictable. Now, it can be unpredictable for a number of reasons, and I think that doesn't just mean clients aren't paying you, there's not enough sales coming in. It can be tax bill period, as an example. So I think, I have always obsessively managed the money in terms of making sure we have 3 to 6 months money in the bank that we could not take any revenue for. Realistically, right now it's probably about 4 months, in that as you grow, obviously that figure will come down a little bit, but it used to be 7-8 months. And I think what that's given us is it's given us an ability to not have to focus too much on individual months cash flow, and it allows us to take that holistic view. Now, I say that in terms of we've had no, oh shit, how do we pay the team next week? And that is by managing obsessively, by myself not going, okay, great, we're doing $1 million a year, I'm going to go and live a really lavish lifestyle. It's sometimes putting that common sense first and going, before you can do that, before you can go and sort of reap all the rewards yourself, you have to make sure you have that safety net there. But I think on the back of that, yes, there are months, sometimes more often than others, that you will spend more money than comes into the bank that month. And I think this is, when we talk about month to month cash flow, I think, we have implemented a lot of things there to make sure that we're in a better position to not even control what's coming in and what's not, but knowing when things are going to come in. I think that's my biggest piece of advice there. So as an example, thinking very carefully about when you invoice a client. We used to invoice a client, we would take on a new client, we would invoice them on 30 days at the end of that month. Effectively, we were on 60-day payment terms almost without realizing it. We were saying, okay, we'll issue an invoice after the end of the month, 30 days. That is 60 days after we started work. From a cash flow perspective, that is a 60-day payment terms effectively. So we brought that forward to say, okay, we're still going to invoice on 30 days, but we are going to invoice on 30 days from the start of the month. We're automatically bringing cash flow 30 days forward. We are also looking at things like bringing in an incentive for signing longer contracts. So I think in the agency world, one of the things is that agency revenue can sometimes be unpredictable, especially when there are ups and downs for businesses, the economy. Sometimes I think agencies make it quite easy for clients to go, okay, we're going to pull the plug in 30 days time. Now, whilst, I certainly think there's always a balance. One of the things that we've done is we will incentivize clients buying into that sort of longer term mentality. We will offer, sort of as an example, a 10% discount on annual contracts on the grounds that we have locked in that revenue on set payment terms for 12 months. So it's managing cash flow. And I think it's cash flow management tactics as opposed to almost that shit, what do we do in an emergency? It's having those tactics in place to go, we need to know what is coming in the bank each and every month so we can plan accordingly. So yeah, building out things like that and, really stopping to think about, are there things we can do to optimize cash flow that are in our control? And I think, with things like payment terms, locking in longer term deals with an incentive, make sure there's an incentive for the client there. There are absolutely ways that you can do that and, put yourself in more of a position of control over that cash flow.
If you've gotten value from this clip and you'd like to watch another like it, click here. It's It's one of them. Now that I know that you stayed around until the end, you're either an agency owner or work at an agency. So with that said, if you're hiring for an SEO or a paid media role and you'd like help to recruit this talent for you, like I've done for at least probably about 100 plus companies now, with an average placement period of 25 days and a 1-year satisfaction guarantee on all placements, then there's 2 links in the description below. So if you need help with hiring, either click the link and book a strategy call with me or my team. Thank you, and I hope you found value from this clip.